It is officially March. The temperature in the northern hemisphere is warming up. Flowers are starting to bloom. It is nearing spring. And for once in my life, I'm actually excited for this. I say once in my life because I live in the very deep south and it is almost always hot and humid where I'm at. We've already had temperatures pushing like 85 degrees in February. But I have been tired of the cold, so I am looking forward to a little bit warmer temperatures and seeing everything burst into bloom and just be really pretty. And with that change in season, I thought it would be fun to talk about some books that I think are nice transitions into spring and just kind of fluffy, I guess. I don't really read that much spring-centered fiction, I guess. Well, let me say this instead. I do a lot of seasonal TBRs. Like for summer, fall, winter, I kind of plan out some books that I would like to read over those couple of months. Spring, I don't really do that. I don't know if it's because books don't really scream spring in the way they do, spooky season or cozy or heck, even, hot, summer, romance, whatever. I don't know. But I did come up with 5 books that I would recommend as nice little palate cleansers after you're moving on from, maybe heavier reading in winter. Going with one of my more recent reads that I actually picked up for Valentine's Day, we have Grape Juice by Eliza Dumais. This is in the 831 Stories publication line, which I've been wanting to try them out for about a year now because I really think that their layout and marketing is super cute, like the little Cupid up at the top. Really like that. And this sounded like it might be the most intriguing book for me. Not so much in like the initial plot, but when I was looking at it in the bookstore, the writing is what really drew me in. Basically, Grape Juice is following Alice, who is a young 20-something living and working in New York and currently employed by a wine importer. And like all 20-somethings living in New York, she is jaded. She's got the whole over it vibe going on. So she needs a change of pace, and her employer offers her this chance to go to France. God, I rhymed. I'm sorry. She goes to France, though, where she's able to participate in the grape harvesting of these various types of grape that go into a lot of wines. And there she meets some interesting new people from all over the world, but especially one handsome young Frenchman. This was so charming. It really was very immersive in the countryside of France. I felt like I was there and really got to experience the beauty of the landscape and just, it felt French without being a cliche, if that makes sense. I really did like the romance that blooms between Alice and Henri, mainly because it's not like super heavy hitting. And I mean that in a good way because it starts out as them just having like a crush on each other. It's very much fun and flirty, and over the course of these weeks they really get to know each other better and understand that their attraction to one another currently exists in this little bubble and that they don't really exist outside of that. They have separated themselves from their everyday life to partake in this grape harvest. And as time goes by, they really start to consider that maybe what they're developing can last once the harvest is finished. This is an easy breezy candy read. I really did like it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's heteronormative, so keep that in mind if you're looking for diversity. Also, it's very white, and not just anybody can afford to, 1, live in New York, and 2, work a job where your boss pays for you to zip off to France for a couple of weeks. But I would recommend giving it a chance. It was really charming. Next up is Diary of a Void by Emi Yagi. This one was kind of out of left field when I was trying to think of books I would recommend, but my reasoning is sound, trust me. This is following a woman named Shibata who works in a sort of like managerial office environment, and she's the only woman there. So the men have kind of assumed that she will take care of all the domestic duties, like cleaning the coffee cups, taking the trash out, all the things that sometimes men think is beneath them and that is women's work. Yeah, so already we're in for an interesting start because Shibata is very resentful of this. And so one day as she is asked to clean up the coffee cups after a meeting, she says, "Oh, well, I can't really do that right now. The smell agitates my morning sickness." Motherhood and pregnancy are, this glorious thing. It's bringing in a new life, and she starts getting different treatment. She gets treated well. She gets afforded more free time. The catch is, though, she's not pregnant. This book then follows Shibata as she is navigating life and work while trying to maintain this fallacy that she is expecting a baby. But then things start getting weird because you don't entirely know if she isn't pregnant or whether she is. The lines get a bit blurred, and so it makes for a really interesting read. I have not had the best luck with finding Japanese fiction that really speaks to me. A lot of times it's either a tad too boring and mundane or too out there. But this really hit the balance. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and seeing the way that a woman in an office space is having to engage with all of these men, all these outside factors, societal expectations of how she should conduct herself as a woman, but then how all of that changes when faced with the prospect of pregnancy. This might seem like a bit of an odd recommendation, but I figured it makes sense because pregnancy, new life, new growth, things are changing. It kind of just, shoehorned in, but I do think it is a nice read for this time of year. Kind of short, not too long, not too much of a commitment. And I think that's also good for spring books, is that you're trying to get back into more of like a lighthearted era. And so engaging with books that don't take up maybe too much brain power or energy, it's a nice way to go sometimes. While I'm on the subject of Japanese fiction, I thought I would recommend a manga, which I don't know if I've actually talked about on my channel any, but I love manga. I'm an avid reader. I've been reading manga since I was probably about 13 or 14, and while my reading has decreased over the last 5-6 years, I still have a lot of series that I collect and that I hold on to. And one of my most recent acquisitions is Ripples in the River by Zeniko Sumiya. This is a really kind of wholesome, carefree story that is following Tamba and Utagawa, who have been together since high school, and we are now seeing them in their late 20s as they are navigating work and family and relationships, and just, it's very slice of life, which is not always my favorite, but in this scenario it really works. Tamba and Utagawa are both really fleshed out as defined characters. Tamba is a children's book author and illustrator, and Utagawa is working at a coffee shop and is a former baseball athlete. And they have really different personalities than what you'd expect from their roles as they're presented in this, in the stereotypical BL fashion. Not getting into that, but anyway, I really love this. It's only 2 volumes out right now, and I picked this one to show because of all the cherry blossoms, which are very spring. It's very much just about the partnership you make with someone and how it grows over time. We get to see them both as adults, and then how they first met and started falling in love in high school. And I really like it. I think it's sweet. It's wholesome. It's also really funny. I wasn't expecting the comedy to be cranked up as much as it is, because I've read another series by this author where the comedy isn't quite as much of a focal point, but here it is very much about these two just kind of dorks falling in love and being in love and just spending their lives together and making a point of making space in their lives for one another. Like when we first meet them, they're living in different apartments, but they constantly go over to each other's house and they're making decisions about whether they do want to move in together or not. Really cute, wholesome stuff. I think it's 6 volumes long, and 2 are out so far, and they're coming out every like 3 or so months. So hopefully by sometime next year, I'll have the whole series. I don't have a physical copy of this book anymore, but another one that I would recommend for spring is The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnold. If you've watched any of my previous videos, specifically my DNFs from 2025, you might remember that I didn't finish this book. And that is right. And am I recommending it? Yes. Because I still think it's worth checking out if you're looking for something that is very much like in tune with like the nature aspect of spring, where grass is growing in and we're getting new flowers, and it's just a very much about like a rebirth. The Enchanted April, though, is following these 4 different women who, for various reasons and with various motivations, all retreat to this like Italian castle in the countryside, away from their husbands or the men in their life, to try to kind of get back to who they are, or to refresh themselves, I guess. The writing in this book is sublime. I loved all the descriptions of these women going out into nature on walks and just being themselves and finding time to just sit with themselves and figure out what they wanted in life. And just like a change of scenery can make for, an improved mood now, it did the same thing in the early 1900s. The main reason I didn't finish this book was because the various men they've been like trying to escape all end up like converging at the castle too, and I wasn't a fan of the direction von Arnim was going in with those relationships. But again, I do think this is a really good book to read for spring, and what I did read up until I guess the last 50 or so pages before I stopped, I was really enjoying. It's very much April vibes. When I think spring books, this is the main one that comes to mind. And even though it didn't work out for me, it might work for you. And lastly, I would be ashamed if I did not recommend Chocolat by Joanne Harris. This is another book that I do think of when I think spring because it is set around Easter and is following Vianne and her daughter who have settled in this very small French town. Another French book. There's a bit of a theme going on, but they've settled here and she's deciding to open up a chocolate shop. The problem is she's opening it up right around Lent. This is a very heavily Catholic environment, and the priest Perronneau is going to war with her over all this decadence and the way that she is encouraging people to give into their baser desires simply by enjoying something as luscious and decadent as chocolate. What makes this book stand out for me is the depiction of the quote-unquote magical occurrences that happen, because you don't entirely know whether the magic that Vianne is working is actual magic or if it is more just by her presence and mannerisms and the way that she engages with people, if she is encouraging them to change their lives for the better. Another good thing about this book is that while it is the first in a series, this one is fully standalone, which I'm thankful for because I did not like what I read of the sequel. But yes, thoroughly enjoyed this. I kind of would like to reread it again this Easter. And again, this is another book where the writing is really a treat. You get all these depictions and descriptions of food and also just the town itself. It feels very lived in a way that sometimes I find books that are set in a place as iconic as France. Again, they feel kind of caricatured, you're just hitting certain beats of what France should be. This though feels like it's very inhabited by these people, and imagine the reality of living in such a small town where it is so strictly religious and having someone come in and just be a breath of fresh air, someone that you don't know what to do with. And some people might be scared of her, other people are fascinated by her. Speaking of that though, this book also focuses on the idea of outsiders and the other. Maybe not always in the most politically correct way. There are people living on riverboats who come through the town, and the descriptions of them are not always the most generous in ways. But again, this book was written over 20 years ago, so I think with something like that we kind of just have to go into it expecting that to happen at times. So just be aware of that. But yeah, really fun, really delightful. I would like to read this again. To wrap things up, I thought it would also be fun to talk about 3 of the books that I'm hoping to read over the next month or so as we transition from winter into spring. Starting that list though, we've got The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. Yes, winter. But like I said, I'm transitioning into spring. I don't honestly know much about this book anymore, except for the fact that it is a retelling of the Buste au Gévaudan drama that happened in the 18th century in France. Another France book, wow. And that it's queer. But it's also chunky. But I'm really looking forward to reading this. I have a couple other things I need to get to first, but this is very high up on the list. I would like to read it in March. Another book that I really do want to read soon is The Bog Wife by Kay Chronister. I don't know how well this fits into the whole spring vibe, but I did look at the book's interior and saw that it's divided into sections based on the seasons, and we end with spring. So I'm counting it. Anyway, this is following this family in Appalachia who, years ago, someone in the family made a bargain with this bog. And so, as a result of this, they have a profitable cranberry harvest. But there's also this presence of a bog wife who is kind of the matriarch of the family and carries on that legacy. So I don't know much else except that it is kind of eco-horror and that we are dealing with bogs. The only thing I'm a bit nervous about with this book is that I have not had very good luck with bog books recently. So I tried reading Blood on Her Tongue last year. That's about a bog body. Didn't work for me. And then most recently, I tried reading Bog Queen by, I think it's Anna North. Also, just look at this. The covers are too similar. This came out first, so I think Bog Queen was like taking inspiration from that. But I am very excited to read this. I'm hoping for the best. And also, I think what's going to make me enjoy the experience of reading this even more is that I am buddy reading it with one of my best friends. And the last book I want to throw out there is The Husky and His White Cat Shizun, also called Erha or Tuha by Robao Buchiro. This is the longest running danmei that I have read. It is my favorite danmei, and I have the last 3 volumes, 9, 10, and 11 to read. I have 11 pictured here because of the pink flowers, again, spring, featured on the cover, even though it's not out yet. And so I'm hoping that once that comes in, I can kind of take a couple of weeks to just binge read those 3 books. I might even try to vlog it. I think that would be really fun. If you've read any of these books, if you're interested in them, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you have any good books that you think have really good spring floral vibes, let me know, because I feel like my spring reading is a bit lacking and I'd be open to trying something new.